Be joined now, delighted to have her on. Used to work with her loads. Foreign advisor to the 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump, Dr. Jan Halper-Hayes. Jan, how are you?
Yeah, okay. Hold it a minute. I had to get a drink.
Oh, where's she gone? Oh, hold on. Well, let's see on the screen. I was looking at myself. What's going on? Why am I looking? Oh, there you are. You told me this was going to happen. And why are you drinking at 5 o'clock? What are you drinking? Wine or whiskey? What's going on now? Oh,
Diet Coke.
yeah.
I've been up all night. You know, I'm headed for 36 hours with no sleep.
Tell me in your own words. Did you expect this? Seriously, I'm on the gin. What did you think? Tell me.
Of course, I expected it. You could see the momentum and that had been building. Plus, the thing is that identity politics doesn't really work anymore. So, yes, they were voting for a woman. But if you paid attention to social media, where you really get what people are feeling, there were tons of Black women saying, she's not Black. She said she was Asian before. I'm not voting for her.
I always thought with Kamala Harris, and I don't want to get into a race debate, but I do believe it would be right and proper to say that she was a VP pick because she was a woman and because she was a woman of colour. However, what I wanted, Jan, and you would know more than me, and I just said it to my last guest, what I expected Donald Trump to do more was to attack her, not on a personal level, but from a point of view that she'd been part of a government for 4 years that hadn't delivered the American people what they would expect. And isn't it interesting that when you break it all down, apparently what mattered to people was the cost of groceries and immigration. It wasn't abortion, it wasn't identity politics, it wasn't ideology. It were those two basic things that matter, by the way, to millions of people in this country as well.
Exactly. Well, the thing is that the let's focus on who hates Donald Trump didn't work for Hillary. The only reason that it worked for Biden was because of COVID and a little bit of finagling with the election. And she tried that again. And that is not what works. Anyone that thinks that, they don't realize the kind of support. And the only reason that Trump has support is one, and you said it in your previous comments, is that promises made, promises kept, and they feel he has our back.
Yeah, and I think
he's going to do.
I think that's really, really important, actually, Jan, because whether you believe you're a fan, I'm a fan, but if you believe, as some people do, that there are times when his language is not right and he puts his foot in it and he says things that aren't correct, although I actually think most of it's orchestrated and planned in his brain. I think he's that sharp.
Yes.
The basics of what he believes, a strong American economy, a strong border, law and order, no ideology in schools, we're not going to give money, we're going to look after our own first and foremost, is what the people of the United Kingdom are crying out for from a politician with conviction. But Donald Trump has faced, over the last 4 years, court cases, abuse, assassination attempts. Can I ask you about this? I read this just now. Between now and the inauguration, he's going to be sentenced. Is he going to be sent to prison? How's that going to work?
Well, that'll be pretty funny if that happens. It really would be. I think he'd love it. I think he's always...
If they sent him to prison and they had to inaugurate it behind bars, how would that work?
Well, you know, we can have fantasies about it, but the fact that the judge that was incredibly biased and wouldn't let certain evidence be heard, etc., the fact that he postponed the sentencing till after the election was the first clue on the chessboard that that pawn is going to be removed. Everything they tried, Jeremy, everything they tried failed.
Do you think, I mean, obviously you have great respect for Donald Trump because everything, as you quite rightly say, that the mainstream media and all that. I mean, I was telling this story earlier about, I don't know what time in the morning it was, they crossed what's that dreadful CNN anchor who hates Donald Trump? I don't know what his name is. Art something, is it? Or maybe I missed the point. Anyway.
Jake Tapper.
Yeah, whatever. He said, anyway, let's go to Georgia. I'm sure it's good news for Kamala Harris, and that correspondent went, well, no, there's been a 20% shift to Donald Trump. And the bloke literally looked like this, Jan. He went, wow. Oh. like they didn't believe it. So when you talk about everything that was thrown at him, did you ever believe that he would throw in the towel, that it would become too much for him? And do you think that the fact that he didn't is one of the reasons why he's won such a glorious victory?
Well, if you know Donald Trump, there was never a question in your mind that he would ever throw the towel in. But I encourage people often to go back to a 1999 interview with Tim Russert of Meet the Press. And Donald Trump had left the Republican Party and joined the Reform Party. In the 25 minutes, he outlined all of the problems. And then he was asked if he would run for president. And he said, I will only run when I know I can win, which is something we heard when he launched it. But you can also find Jerome Corsi talks about the fact that the military tried to recruit Trump to run for president because they knew he wasn't beholden to anyone and couldn't be bought. And it was only when the timing was right that he dug in. I mean, 9 years of being massacred, of people trying to make you broke, of 2 impeachments, 2 assassination attempts, and he is the only president that doesn't look older since he took office. He just keeps going and going.
So has he phoned you up yet?
No, he hasn't. I'm waiting for Elon to call me.
Well, Elon's just posted a simple message on X, the social media platform, of course, he bought in 2022, formerly Twitter. Next to an image of him saluting the US flag, Elon Musk has simply put, "It is morning in America again." First message since the early hours. There's lots of language and intimation, Jan, that he will get quite a serious governmental role under Trump.
Well, I think one of the other reasons people voted for Trump is the team that he's put together. We have finally needed to bring some strong Democrats RFK Jr. The media did not give that enough attention. He brought the independents in to Trump. Jill Stein, who was running in 6 of the swing states, took votes from Kamala. No one knew what Kamala stood for.
An empty vessel, somebody rang me earlier and said an empty vessel. An empty vessel.
Absolutely. You've got Vivek Ramaswamy. You've got Tulsi Gabbard. Those are 2 people who actually ran for president.
Who do you
think? So you've got 3 really there. RFK Jr. at first was not very pleasant about Trump. But then if you listen to any of his interviews, he talks about the fact that they agreed that there are certain things they disagree about, and they won't discuss that. And the only thing Trump said was, just don't touch my oil, Bobby, because he's also an environmentalist.
Do you believe that Donald Trump... I mean, I was talking to Richard Tice, Deputy Leader of Reform, earlier on. He was talking about how he believes in the next 2 years the American economy will flourish. The power will be back, the economy will grow, and that actually the other countries will look at that and say, you know, that's what we want. I mean, you're obviously delighted. You've been up for 36 hours. Do you think that the presidency of Donald Trump 2.0 will be better or similar to the first, Jan?
Oh, gosh, it's going to be 10 times better. See, he's even admitted that when he came into office, he wasn't a politician. He didn't have a lot of connections. He had to trust people. That's why that's why it was kind of a revolving door. And thank goodness he knows how to fire people. But this time, he has got the right people leading the transition team. And they are focusing on the critical issues. What I'm concerned about, Jeremy, is that from the 6th of November to the 6th of January, the Democrats are not going to give up, and we don't know what they're going to throw into the ring other than Representative Jamie Raskin on his Facebook page has posted in a meeting when he said, we're going to have to use the 14th Amendment. We'll let Trump win, but there's no way he's going to be inaugurated. So that is going to keep us interested in
Well,
seeing
that's interesting, seeing as how that has been thrown repeatedly at Donald Trump. You talked about shenanigans just before we finish in 2020. I don't want to get into a huge debate, but I had a caller on earlier who said it was patently obvious that stuff happened. Let's just assume for a minute that you and others believe that there was interference in 2020, without starting conspiracy theories. Why was it not done the same in 2024? How did it get across the line then? What made this election different?
Well, let me tell you how they did it in 2020 in one way. They had a battery, Mark Elias had a battery of attorneys. Now, our state legislatures, according to our Constitution, are the only ones that can change the rules for the elections. But these attorneys, Pennsylvania, they went to the Supreme Court. It extended the ballots for another 5 days, etc. One, we had 350,000 poll workers because we were not going to be forbidden from watching what was going on. We had over 700 lawyers ready to act, which they did. For example, Bucks County in Pennsylvania closed polling down at 1:45 in the afternoon. We took it to court and we won. So we were prepared.
Much better prepared than 2020. Much better prepared. Overall, as you approach your 37th hour and you're sipping there on Diet Coke, although I think it's got rum in it, you're a happy woman. You're going to go to bed tonight with the man that you... Not with him, obviously, that didn't sound right at all, but happy in the knowledge that Donald Trump will be the next president. Do you think, though, I've got one question for you, do you think on day one he'll pardon himself?
Well, he has to be convicted first. People call him a convicted felon, but he hasn't been convicted. He's been found guilty, but he hasn't been sentenced. So I actually think the judge is going to drop it. Unbelievable. Listen, so good to have you. When are you going to bed, Jan? You can't be out. When are you going to bed? I have at 6 o'clock in Spain.
Oh, OK. That sounds nice. After that, get to bed. You're a lovely lady. Thank you very much indeed. Dr. Jan Halper-Hayes, former advisor to Donald Trump, recounting her theories and her beliefs about the last 24 hours.